You are a monkey on a flying planet, on a rock, going through space. Like, this is insane. Things are not as serious as you make them out to be. So drop the seriousness of it and feel into the joy and expansion that's available to you. And everything speeds up when you have joy. Everything also gets easier.
The Mindspo podcast.
What do you see with your mind's eye?
Welcome back. Let's elevate. Roll your shoulders up and back. Unclench your jaw. Elongate your spine as you take a deep breath in. And now, exhale. Now take your mind to that person, place, or thing that you have gratitude for, and start to feel into the joy available to you at all times. Elevate into a higher vibration as we expand together and dive into this conversation. Welcome to the Mindspo podcast. You are tuning in for another manifestation series sponsored by Manifesty app. I am here with my partner in crime and business, the co-founder of Mindspo and Manifesty app, Chris Soll.
Hey.
I have made Chris record this at 6 a.m. in the morning before we get on a train.
Yeah. I don't think it's even 6 yet.
Is it? It just turned 6:05.
Okay, just now. All right.
How much do you love me?
I love you so much.
And you want to know what's even more funny about recording a podcast at 6:05 in the morning before we get on a German train, both to go to different destinations?
What?
That we're recording this podcast on joy.
Yes, the magic key to everything.
You know what's making me joyful this morning?
What?
This coffee.
Yes.
So
Extra
good.
dose of sugar in that one.
Yes, my anti-inflammation diet is, it's not loving that one, but I'm loving it.
It is delicious.
It is delicious. Now, I wanted to talk with you about this one because I feel like when it comes to manifesting, there's a lot of things that are out there and there's a lot of tools and techniques, and there can be like a lot of seriousness and heaviness and to-dos and ahas and to fix, and even this personal development world. Let's be real. Sometimes even myself, I look at myself from a third-party perspective and I'm like, I wonder if people think that I am like super serious and always healing and always, motivated. And it sometimes makes me wonder a little bit. And I get a little bit nervous about that, if I'm completely honest, because that's actually, yes, we are about improvement and all of those things. But really, as people, you and I, we're always about finding joy. Like always about finding joy in the journey. Like that is how we operate our lives, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I think joy it's one of those things that's so simple that it gets overlooked, right?
Yeah.
Just like meditation, it's so simple it can't be it, right? But it's really funny when you think about joy that why are we even here on this planet? Why are we here? And when you really ask yourself and you try to dig into your own mind, like, when do I feel the most alive? Because that's a good indication that you're probably fulfilling whatever purpose you're here for. And chances are you start having memories flash into your mind of times with friends, when you were laughing, when you're experiencing something. Like all your most favorite memories are joyful memories. Also, the biggest regret that people have at the end of life when they are reminiscing and they're looking back over their entire life is they go, God, I wish I had allowed myself to be happier. AKA, I wish I'd allowed myself to be more joyful. So this is something that's really so deep at our core. And we live in a system where we sort of forget this because we're constantly bombarded with seriousness and life is not a joking matter, and we got to all be really, really adult now. But the funny thing is that the body doesn't age at the same pace as the mind. So someone might look like they're 60 on the outside, but I guarantee you the mind is not 60 in terms of like the way that a mind at 15, it's not like they're 4 times as wise at this point. So like most people are still carrying this youthful mentality inside, but they're not letting it out anymore because they feel like it's inappropriate. And I think a wonderful thing to realize when you listen to the channelings of Abraham Hicks, and when you also just apply this yourself, you realize that joy is really a secret key to manifesting better and faster and in more alignment. And also it means that you get to enjoy the whole process of going towards your manifestations. If you can enjoy the journey towards your manifestation, in the end, the manifestation doesn't even matter so much. It was just something that allowed you to go on that journey. And so, yeah, I guess in today's episode, we just want to highlight how important it is to remember to keep a healthy dose of joy in as many things as possible.
Yeah, and I personally feel like joy and toxic positivity get put in this bucket together that I really don't like. And I feel like these two things are oil and water. Like they actually don't mix. They're completely opposite. Joy is not toxic positivity. Joy is literally just reaching for a higher vibrational thought. And it's not this thing of like forcing yourself to be happy and pretending everything's okay. For me personally, the expression and the practice of joy is falling into play. This is something that you and I have such a high value on in our relationship and in our life and in our personal growth journey. Play is really how I expand and how I flow with whatever it is that I'm doing. Because the minute that I'm enforcing, the minute that I'm in seriousness is the minute that I lose that childlike sense of wonder. And that childlike sense of wonder for me is where I actually expand. It's where the creativity comes. It's where I am my truest self. I often feel like in my life, there is this version of like adult Rochelle. And adult Rochelle is kind of this like projected version that my teachers, my parents, like all these people told me like, this is who you will become. And I've actually never become like adult Rochelle. I'm still child Rochelle. And that is like actually like who I am and where I feel most natural. And sometimes, yeah, I put on like the adult pants and I'm like trying to do the adult thing. But when I'm in that, I really do feel out of flow and I feel out of alignment. So I guess I want to talk about play and the idea that play is something that can really help us with manifesting. Now, we do this a lot. We'll do a whole episode on this, but you and I really look at life as a game. This is a cosmic game, a cosmic play. We are always talking about levels and the next game. And I think some people really don't like the game analogy, but for us, looking at life as a game has allowed us just to have so much more fun with this human experience and take it so less seriously. And when you take it less seriously, you're actually able to take bigger risks. You're able to step into things that might be scary for that adult, serious kind of logical mind, but expansive for that childlike sense of wonder.
100%. And I think it's about developing a healthy dose of being able to exist in two places at once. So like, just because we have meetings with our team and maybe we need to look at finances and sign paperwork or something like that, like you can do that kind of stuff in all seriousness. You can switch that on and you can kind of leave the joy out of moments occasionally if it feels appropriate. But just as much as that, you want to make sure you don't just get caught in the machine. So something that helps me remain more joyful is just to, first of all, how do you minimize that attachment to the seriousness that is continually being reinforced all around us? And for me, it's really just a matter of zooming out. It's about really taking a little bit of time to notice the ridiculous vastness of reality and how when you're taking things seriously, that's because you've just confined your mind into one tiny little box where you say, well, I've got these 4 beliefs here and I'm existing inside these 4 beliefs and my mom said this and the TV said that. And now, it's going to be really serious. But like when you move beyond those little limiting beliefs and you really just appreciate the fact that you are this talking ape being thingy that evolved
on a flying rock going through space.
Like something that blows me away is, I used to think that we live on, a floating marble, a ball that's spinning around stationarily. It's spinning around like a fireball that's staying in one place. That's what I used to think. You see like those solar system simulations. But then sometime a few years ago, I saw this simulation where it showed like, well, no, actually the sun is also moving, and the sun is moving way faster than the earth is moving. So it's kind of like we're just we're spinning through like the universe around some other giant, around the galaxy. It's just like when you take a little time, this isn't just about astrology, astronomy, whatever. It's just appreciate that you can't explain that properly. You can't even properly appreciate that. But if you spend a little bit of time thinking about it, you realize that what was I worried about again a second ago? Who was I trying to please? What mold was I trying to fit into, created on this tiny little planet that is so vastly magical, but also so vastly insignificant in the grand scheme of things? And when you can just loosen your grip a little bit by spending a bit of time pondering those things, it allows you to let a natural state of joy come through, because the joy is in there. It's down there. You want to play. You want to enjoy yourself. You don't want to take things seriously. You don't want to be a little robot just moving through life and just trying to pass one day after another. That's not really what you want. Your soul knows this. That's why when you feel really joyful, that's not coming from your mind. That's coming from your heart. That's coming from your center. And so it's really just about removing rather than more than trying to create it. It's like just loosening the grip a little bit on the seriousness of reality, and realize, as Albert Einstein said, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. So you'll understand this for a moment, and then it will elude you again, and you'll fall back into the seriousness thing. But as you were saying before, something that can help greatly is to think of life as a game. And by playing life as a game, it doesn't mean you no longer take it seriously, but it means you're bringing a gamified approach. Because if life is a game and it's just a choice, it's a simple choice. You can be a little being caught in this grand machine and you've got no options and you're a victim and, oh my God, it's all terrible and I'm having encounters with reality. Or you could be like, all right, I'm a player inside of this game. I'm a part of this game. What kind of game do I want to play? You know what I mean? Like if I have $100 left in my bank account, I could look at that and be like, oh my God, this is so terrible. That's one choice. And that is most of the things in your body will want you to think that way. But there is an option where you could also say, all right, I'm playing a game right now. I have $100 left. What am I going to do with that? Because there is a bunch of moves. There aren't many, but I've got a few left. So, and it's just that slight difference between leaning back and trying to conserve and trying to just get through it, or being like, all right, like let me lean in and play this game. And how do I want to play this game? You know, I'm somebody who I'm competitive, but the wonderful thing is I enjoy myself whether I win or lose just as much. I do not care. I do not have an attachment to the outcome. I'm not trying to compete. For me, the competition is how much can I enjoy the competition. So like I love playing competitive games with friends, and I have some friends who cannot stand losing. They'll start throwing the game halfway through and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? They start taking it seriously. Yeah, just seeing where you can relax into play, and you'd be surprised how wonderful you can bring joy into certain parts of your life where they usually don't exist.
Oh, so one thing I just want to say before you go on, something that really helps me with everything that you're saying is having a frame. So when something comes up that is unjoyful, or I feel like I'm serious, or I'm just like holding on really, really tightly, I literally close my eyes and I ask myself, will this matter in 5 days, 5 months, 5 years? Like having that frame of like, how important in the scheme of things is this thing, and why am I losing my joy for this moment? Because the present moment is all there ever is. And if you are taking every single moment super seriously, but in the actual grand scheme of things, that moment, that thing really doesn't matter, then you are constantly losing the opportunity to feel good. And that for me is like having more conscious choices in my life where I'm like, I'm choosing to feel good about this. I'm choosing to enjoy this period, this chapter. Like we have had so many moments in our manifestation journey when we have been going after a goal, trying to achieve something. And it has been difficult. It has been hard. It has felt really serious and heavy and like we've got to get through this thing. But in that experience, we've like turned to each other and gone, all right, so this can really suck for the next year or the next 6 months. COVID is a great example of that. We had a giant house that we had prepaid and we were like, what are we doing? We're stuck with all of this stuff. And we were in a really sticky business situation. And we were like, okay, this can be the shittest experience ever, or we can choose to find joy in the journey of this and just laugh at it, laugh at the ridiculousness of it, have more pockets of just relaxing into it rather than being tense in it.
I remember for me, there were so many things that didn't make sense when all that stuff unfolded. And there came a moment where I remember I was getting so annoyed and so frustrated and so confused about everything. And then at some point I just started saying, it doesn't have to make sense. And that was just an instant. You'd hear some ridiculous thing and you want to react to it. You want it to, like, your body wants to get frustrated and start debating about it. And then, you'll get into some heightened state for hours. But by having the mentality of like, look, everything's ridiculous. So like, this doesn't have to make sense. And then it just gives you permission to just move past that rather than get stuck on it. Yeah. But like, the funny thing as well is you'll notice everybody wants to feel joy. And so many people have snuffed that out inside of them. Maybe it's their environment, maybe it's their mentality, whatever it might be. But regardless of their upbringing or whatever, it's still in there. It's just the keyhole to unlock it might just be really small and really hidden. And the funny thing is, if you go into life and you're encountering all these other beings around you, the bank teller, the restaurant waiter, whoever it is, if you can start practicing bringing a bit of joy, maybe making a little joke, maybe just like being a little inappropriate almost in a fun, like a charming way, you will see how much it gives people permission for them to suddenly feel a little bit of joy, like giving other people joy.
Okay, can I say we do this? So something that Soll and I do when we are traveling is that we kind of play a game where we are constantly like, all right, how can we get through this airport? How can we manifest getting through this airport with the most amount of ease? Now, full disclosure, Soll and I are usually the people that have oversized baggage that we've forgotten to pay for, and we're rocking up knowing that, okay, we have about 20 kilos that we didn't account for in our carry-on luggage that is meant to be
25 kilo carry-on.
But something that Soll and I do when we're, manifesting like a short-term thing, like getting through airport with ease and you're just getting to the other end and having it be like a seamless experience, is that Soll and I will look at the people along the way and we'll look at the security guard, the baggage person, the person that's checking us in. And we're like, how can we make this person so happy today that they got us as customers? How can we go up to them and have them be like, oh, they were just a pocket full of sunshine? And finding that joy within them, finding the joy within you, and then activating it within them actually allows things to work so much faster, because people, when you bring joy to people want to make things more joyful and easy for you.
Like it all it takes is take a moment and put yourself into the shoes and practice this. Get better at recognizing the humanity in everyone that you meet, and realize that they're just another soul inside of, a meat puppet, and they're dealing with all the same crap that you are, maybe more.
And they are not their jobs.
And maybe they have no one around them that's really like encouraging them to feel joy. Okay, cool. And now they're working at a teller where one person after another is coming at them
with problems,
who's really serious, who's, oh my God, I got to fly somewhere. People at airports are really funny. They think that like they're trying to get into a VIP nightclub or something. Like everyone is so serious and so worried. And then meanwhile, how many people get turned away at the gate? Like none. So Everyone's serious. Everyone's stressed because they're thinking about the entire journey at the same time. They're not breaking it down to little chunks. And then they're coming up to this person one at a time, all stressed out and something. Okay. And then suddenly they encounter us. And Rosh will give them a compliment. I will ask them how their day is. We both have a smile on our face. If there is an opportunity to make a little joke or something, I've got a handle on my suitcase that broke off, for instance. And I'm like, oh, see this handle? This was actually a Georgian taxi driver punched himself in the face when he lifted it and it broke off. And we have a little chuckle. And the funny thing is, by inviting that person to be more joyful, by demonstrating being more joyful, you know what happens? They want to make your life easier. Like we've had countless times where the bag will be 3 kilos over or something, and they'll literally just like, oh, just give me a second here. They'll just kind of like lift it or reprogram something so that they save us having to pay for extra baggage. They'll give us a free seat upgrade or something because like they want to. And we're the odd ones out of a large queue of people who have the same kind of serious demeanor. They're not enjoying the journey. So I think the things that we do is we break the journey down into these little sections, and we always say like next level. It's like, okay, we got to get past the check person. All right, that's the first level. Now it's like, all right, we're going to get past security. That's the next level. So it's really a mindfulness practice by gamifying and chunking it down. And then by only looking at one little piece at a time, it then makes it so much easier to not get stressed and fall into that seriousness, but instead stay joyful. And then at the same time, I now always set an intention where I ask my guides, I'm like, can you just ensure that we have a really clear, chill journey and it's all going to be smooth. And then that traveling can become fun. You can enjoy that journey. It's 12 hours, 18 hours. And what a privilege it is to be able to fly through the air from one country to another. My God, that's only been available for a microsecond.
So I really feel an action step for this whole entire podcast is look at your life, look at all the things that you're doing throughout the day and ask yourself, where can you add more play and more joyfulness? Rather play in conversation, just being more funny or making a joke or being less serious or being a little bit more, I would just say like cheeky. I think that is something that you and I actually are. We're quite cheeky with people, not in a bad way or like a rude way, like in a really fun, playful, like cheeky, funny, mysterious way. Ask yourself, where can you add more play in your life and how is that going to enhance your life? And really think about it, because I think there are so many instances that if you chose a certain thing in your life to have more play, to have more joy, it will just like literally amplify that throughout the whole entire day. A classic example for me is every single time I see a dog, I am probably the happiest person that you have seen ever seeing a dog. I will change the side of the road to go and see a dog that's like 100 meters up. I'll be like, okay, there's a golden retriever coming. I'm crossing the road to intercept the golden retriever, to give him a pat. Like, I freaking love animals. I love ducks. I love going to the ocean and going in like the little pools and going and finding the fishies. I love it when someone has a cat. I'm literally going to the UK right now to go and babysit Cosmo, which is my friend's dog. Like, I'm going to another country to house it. Like, I love animals. And they, for me, have been something that I've decided, like, this is going to be something that I'm going to allow to have a joy explosion in my life. Like, I get so freaking excited about these things. And that instance of me having that excitement with a dog or an animal or a cat or a fish or a duck, like, that ripples out into my whole entire being.
Maybe not a fish. Fish don't really give you that much joy, I don't think. You're like, oh my God, a fish. Well, maybe if we see fish.
I think when I see crabs.
But what I will say, crabs, yeah. What I will say is dogs are such a perfect example, because dogs just freely give joy. Mm-hmm. The moment they see you, most dogs anyway, will just like, they're so excited to see you. They don't care what they look like. They're just like jumping up and everything else. And then what's the result? Humans just want to keep them around. Humans love them. They will run into a burning house, to save the dog. But yeah, I love the fact that you are using encounters with other people's dogs as a joy trigger. And the moment you give them joy, I mean, I can see like these animals sense your energy from like miles away. Like they get so excited even when you're like 20 meters away, because they can pick up on the fact that you have like a similar vibration to them about like excitement to see them, and they just feed off that.
Yeah.
But,
and I think just to tie this all together, I guess in this episode, we've kind of just gone on so many little tangents, but really what we're trying to get to is joy doesn't have to be a permanent state. It doesn't have to be this thing where you have to feel joyful and happy and like you smile through every single difficult thing. No, you should feel your feelings. If you feel sadness, if you feel anxiety, if you feel any sort of low vibration, like go into it, feel it, experience it. You know, how you heal your feelings is you feel them. Like you need to move through them. However, allow yourself to expand more into the joy that's available to you at all times and reach for it. Reach for that joy and decide, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to choose to experience it, because there are so many opportunities for you to be joyful throughout your day that you are just not taking by the balls and being like, I'm actually going to experience this. And I think that when you choose to find more pockets of joy throughout your life, that is actually when you're going to enjoy the journey so much more. And something that I always teach is the word journey has the word joy in it. And if you are on a manifesting journey or you're setting your goals, or you have some big vision for yourself, I got to tell you now, you need to consciously find joy in the journey, because the journey, I know it's the most cliche thing and you've heard it so many times that you probably, when you hear this, you roll your eyes, but pretend you're hearing this for the first time and really let it sink in. The journey is the destination. That is the destination. This moment right now is the only moment that you will ever exist in, and it feels good to feel good. So allow yourself to feel good. Allow yourself to play. Allow yourself to go back to that childlike essence inside of you at all times, because that is your true essence. That is who you are. You're not here to be some like big serious business boss with all these problems and all these complex issues. You are a monkey on a flying planet on a rock going through space. Like, this is insane. Things are not as serious as you make them out to be. So drop the seriousness of it and feel into the joy and expansion that's available to you. And everything speeds up when you have joy. Everything also gets easier, because the more you enjoy things, the easier things are for you. The more likely you are to go back and do something, to have fun with that.
Yeah, I think it's about just developing a value on joy. And I guess if there's anything we're trying to do with this episode, it's just to highlight all the different reasons why joy is actually such a valuable thing to exercise, to implement, to remember, to focus on, to introduce into situations. Not only does it make you manifest faster, because the universe loves to reward beings that are actually grateful for this experience. Like, you are the universe expressing itself as a person, right? So like, when you are grateful, you are in alignment with your deeper essence. So not only are there reasons manifestation wise, but also if you're enjoying the journey because you're finding all those moments of joy, then the destination doesn't even matter in the end. You can be the kind of person who, you know, by the time you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you'll be like, look, I'm already in bonus time. I've had so much joy in this life, in the most seemingly mundane moments, that it's not about like, oh, you know, I still need to finish all this stuff in life in order for me to feel joy. It's like, don't put off the joy. Don't put it off till the end, because by the time you reach your goals, you'll have a momentary burst of dopamine, sure, but then your brain is going to conjure up the next goal. And if you're always putting off that feeling of, like, I'm going to allow myself to feel good, if you can channel that while you're on the way, rather than waiting and holding it off until wherever you get to, until you get to that illusion, that in German you say Fata Morgana, which is like when you see like something in the desert, one of those like
the mirage.
The mirage, exactly. So like, don't hold off the joy, trying to stow it until you finally get to that whatever the hell it is you're aiming towards. Channel it now, feel it now. Remember that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, meaning pick a goal that's worthy. And if today you've moved even just 0.001% towards that by having some aligned action, then today was a success and you can now feel good. You can feel good while you're doing it. You can feel good while you're lying in bed at night, looking back over the day. And it's just, there's the opportunities to feel it are all around you at all times. And everyone around you wants to feel it too. It's just that people are all stuck in this stalemate with this illusionary idea of like, you got to be serious in order to be taken serious. Forget that. Be the one that breaks the mold. Be grateful just to be alive. And you will be rewarded in so many ways as a result.
Absolutely love it. Everyone listening, my challenge for you today is to go out there and bring more joy to someone else's life. Literally pass on the joy today. If you know someone that has a small business, maybe leave them a review. You meet someone on the street and they're asking for directions. Don't do it with the like, oh, I don't know where to go. Literally be like, yeah, sure. How can I help you? Be that pocket full of joy, be that expansion, be that childlike sense of essence, and be the person who's expanding today and bringing joy to everyone else around you. And the universe, like Soll said, will reward you. Love this conversation. Baby, we've got a train to catch. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you in the next one. Until then, we are sending you so much love, and go and make someone else's day today and bring the joy. Thank you for joining me for this episode. You can discover more from Mindspo on Instagram and TikTok by following @Mindspo and myself @Rochelle_Fox. If this episode inspired you, then please pass it on and share the love. And if you're new to our world and you want to elevate your mind and step into your best self, then be sure to download our app, Manifesty, from the App Store and take advantage of the free trial. With Manifesty, you can create your own vision board movies, practice powerful meditations, and set affirmation reminders so your phone supports your journey towards that abundant vision of your future. And lastly, always remember, you create your own reality. So go and make some magic.